Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ryal Thomas. Tonight's title is Cultivating You. But before we actually get started with this, I want to thank the viewers and thank everyone for just tuning in last week. The show was titled Excuses. We had a great deal of interest in that. A lot of people were giving me compliments, coming up to me on the street saying a few things about it. And not only was I enlightening the viewers on some things, I also was enlightening myself on some things, because when I'm up here talking, I'm not actually just giving out information hoping that it will help everyone that actually listened to it, but it also helps me. I'm not perfect, and I don't try to be, and I don't try to pretend that I am. But the point is that it is helping someone, but for the majority, it's helping me as well. But without any further ado, I want to move right into this show titled Cultivating You. Because a lot of times, you know, we have a tendency to just go through life and really not even look at what our strong possibilities are when it comes to ourselves. We can look at things and maybe do things, and it may be just average. It may be just an average act, and you're thinking that that's all you have to give. But without actually digging deeper into you as an individual, digging deeper to find out what your capabilities are, what your gifts are, you never know, because we sometimes get caught up. We get caught up in a routine of just doing things day by day, not realizing that it's more to us than just what we are caught up in every day. We need to take time to invest in ourselves. Look at some things that you may be dreaming about, you may be thinking about, and you ask yourself, what do I need to do to bring the best out in me? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing that's going to enhance my future? What am I doing that's going to actually uplift me and uplift the people around me? But in order to do your best, you must be your best. And sometimes we can get caught up in so many different things that we do not realize how far we can go. We can be around certain individuals, we can be around certain or be in certain places that may not bring out the best in us. So that's a time that I feel that we all should take time to take personal inventory to see exactly where we may or may not be going in the right direction, I should say. Because we can be at a point where that everything becomes such a routine, it's just a normal act. And I'm repeating that due to the fact because there's so many things that prepares us for a better life that we actually ignore. And when you are ignoring these hints of achievements that can possibly be made, you're falling behind. And if you ask yourself, what were your dreams last year? What were your plans last year? Are you meeting them? Are you moving in the direction to bring about a better life for you? And if you're saying to yourself, well, I think so. I think I'm moving in the right direction. See, these are the times that we do not need to think that we are moving in the right directions. These are the times that I feel that if we're just thinking about it and we're not actively moving in that direction, then we need to question ourselves and we need to ask ourselves, what do we need to do? To cultivate means to move some of the weeds out of the way when you're a gardener. You know, sometimes a gardener will come in and he'll turn over the soil and he will find new soil to bring about a new vegetable, a new fruit, something that will bring about new life. See, sometimes we need to turn the soil over in ourselves. because we can get caught up again in so many things that will not produce new soil. And new soil can be new people, it can be a new job, it can be a new area. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get involved with new people. New people bring about new ideas. New jobs may bring about new ideas as well. But to just maintain and be comfortable with what you are doing now, it may be fine, but if you're looking for growth, we need to bring about new ideas, new interests, and that can only be achieved by finding the new you. Because you may think that this is all what it is, but it's more to you than just this. It's more to you than what you'll see. It's more to you than getting up, going to work, saying hello, saying good morning, saying goodbye. It's a lot more to you that lies within your spirit, within your soul. But in order to reach that, you have to be real with yourself. You have to look at things that may not be so comfortable for you. And just because it may be comfortable for someone else, it may not be deep down inside comfortable for you. So I ask you, if you want to live, and I can say this as well, a very prosperous life, and you want to bring longevity to your life, you must first dig deep and find love. Love that lies within all of us. And just because someone is walking beside you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're walking with you. That only happens when things are not really going as planned for you. I'm going to run with this a little bit because I'm losing focus on some things that I'm trying to say because I have so much to say. But when you're cultivating your life, when you're doing things that you feel that you need to do in order to make your life better, sometimes we need to get rid of a few things. And sometimes that may require getting rid of some people that you thought were your friends. Sometimes that may even be to the point where you need to get rid of some family members that you feel that may be hindering you at this particular time. And it doesn't mean that you don't love your friends or love some of your family members. What it does mean is that you need some time to get yourself together so you can find who you really are. Because you've gone through this journey called life, and you've walked the walk, and you've talked the talk. But are you walking in the direction in which you want to walk in? Are you talking or having the conversation that you want to have? Are you doing more pleasing of other people than you are of yourself? See, you need to ask yourself and be real with yourself. And in order to bring about the best in you, you have to be real, because it'll get to a point where you'll start looking at some of your wrong actions and some of your wrong conversations as that's just the way it is, that you have accepted that. You're not even realizing that it may be wrong because you've been doing it for so long, and you're not looking at your conversation, who it may be hurting. You're not looking at your actions, who it may be hurting. So you need to cultivate yourself. You need to remove some of these things out of your way so you can see you. And in order for you to be all you can be, You have to be real and accept some of the faults that you know that lie within you. You need to be real to accept it in order to change it. And without accepting the faults, you will continue to have faults. And you may wonder why things are not going accordingly. You may wonder why things are not moving in the direction in which you've made these plans for them to move in. And that's all about changing some things in your life. I've changed them. I'm pretty sure some of you guys out there have changed them as well. You realize when you're saying or going wrong or doing wrong, everyone knows when they've hurt someone's feelings, whether they accept it or make excuses to the point where that is just something that I've done. You can't reach the true you without removing some of these things off your plate. And some of these things you may feel that, well, if I do this or say this, it's going to hurt someone. It's going to hurt their feelings. You have to understand that you have to put a smile on your face first. You have to love you in order to love someone else. If you know nothing about love or know nothing about who you actually are, how can you be helpful to someone else? These are some of the things that we need to look at. You know, a gardener will come in and he will move a plant, or maybe he will plant his field of corn on one side of his property. The next year, he will plant it somewhere else, because he realized that planting it up on this hill, it didn't do so well. Or maybe planting it down lower, it didn't do so well. So he starts to move the crops around in order to find what's the best area to plant my garden. Do I cultivate my land here or there? And these are the things we must ask ourselves when we're dealing with situations, when we're bringing people into our life. I'm a true believer that you must first and foremost always try to help someone, try to bring about change. But when it gets to the point where the help that you are giving is actually hurting you, then what is the accomplishment when you have so much to give? You cannot give all of you and expect to find all of you. Because when you put all of you out there, what's there for you to see? What's there for you to feel? And are you sure, because you have removed the weeds out of your life, are you sure it doesn't make you vulnerable for people to come in and put more weeds into your life? So when you find yourself to be of different thoughts, of different actions, and people start to disappear from your side, it doesn't mean that you're being mean-spirited. It doesn't mean that people are starting to dislike you. It actually means that you're starting to love yourself. See, every time you start to do right, and when you find you, you're going to confuse a lot of things and a lot of people. Because as long as someone can point the finger at you, and as long as you are helping individuals, which is a good thing to do, don't lose focus on that, people will speak very highly of you. But when that stops, when you start to focus on you, and you start to bring out the good, and you start to do things that you've always wanted to do, that's when things get a little shaky. But you have to find you in order to help individuals to a point where they can help themselves. See, it's very complicated when it comes to your feelings. It's very complicated when it comes to love. See, people have a tendency, and and I always say that, we have to love ourselves first, but it gets very complicated when you are doing so much for everyone else, and then when it stops, so many things are being said. Because you'd be surprised by pulling some of the weeds out of your life. You'd be surprised the glow, the joy, the feeling of love that you find for yourself. You can't always be a yes person for someone. Sometimes you have to take personal interest in you and say yes to yourself. And saying yes to yourself doesn't necessarily mean that you're saying no to everyone else. But first and foremost, you have to understand that you come first. Building yourself up, removing the weeds, cultivating things that lie deep inside of you that you've been living with all your life. We need to get rid of some of those things in order to see down the road. And this may be a touchy subject or a touchy topic, what I'm getting ready to say right now. Even in relationships, when there are signs that weeds are coming and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm just going to wait it out. That's beautiful. You can wait it out. But sometimes in a relationship, one partner, they may not want you to remove the weeds, because as long as they are in control of your thoughts and in control of you mentally, it doesn't allow you to grow. It doesn't allow you to find you. Because see, if you truly knew who you were or who you are, maybe you wouldn't be with this individual. And I'm not saying this to throw dirt that way. I'm saying that because you have to be compatible, and you have to find out where the weeds are in the beginning. You can't get involved and then realize there are weeds everywhere, because then you start to pull their weeds out when you haven't even cleaned your own weeds out of your own spirit and soul. So how is that going to bring about a nurturing relationship? How's that going to bring about a nurturing relationship, period? So you go down the road and you think to yourself, well, I'm going to stick it out for a while. Please do. If there's love involved and love in the picture, stand it as long as you can. But you cannot watch the weeds grow. They will overtake you, and you've lost yourself. Then you have to go all the way back to the beginning just to find yourself. So, but if you know yourself and know who you are and know who what your capabilities are, then go for them. Because the happier you are, the happier you will make someone else feel. And that's just a little quick note on relationships, I feel. And like I said, I don't find myself to be not at fault with some of these sayings that I'm saying, because, I'm guilty of a lot of things myself. When it comes to relationship, jobs, interacting with people. But I try to recognize that, and I try to correct things that I see that are wrong. Because deep down, we know when we're saying something wrong. We know when we're doing something wrong. But we make excuses because we don't want to take the blame. We don't want to take the blame for the wrongdoings that we do. But when you pull the weeds out of your life, then you can look and you know when you come across someone who may not have a lot of weeds in their life, because you can see things a little bit clearer. You can feel things a little bit more. So in order to interact, which I feel, and to have a good life, what brings about longevity, you must first find out who you are, because you may not even know who you are. You may have been being someone that people expect for you to be. You may be having conversations with someone because you feel that's what they want to hear. You're pushing yourself deeper and deeper away from finding out who you are. And until you find out who you are by removing the weeds, I feel that we may always be off track. We may always question what we're doing, what we're saying. We may always question things. And how can life move on for you when you've lived a life of questions or concerns or possibilities that you feel that, well, if I would have done this, and if I would have said this, well, don't just think about it. Be about it. You have one life to live. Clear your mind. When you say no to someone and you think you're hurting their feelings, maybe you're helping yourself. You can't be a yes person to everything. You're pushing yourself away from who you are, who you need to be, in order to bring about a loving, joyful life. And it may hurt to pull up certain weeds. It may hurt to cultivate yourself, because there's so many different people and so many things that you may come in contact with that you think you may be doing a wrong, or you may be doing someone an injustice. But that's not the case. Every weed you pull up out of your spirit, out of your life, you see a little bit more of you. And when you can see a little bit more of you, you start to see life in a very righteous, clear way. You start to see the path that you need to take in life. You cannot be guided by this conversation or that conversation or this act or that person. You need to be guided by what you feel that you need to do to bring about longevity for you. And if you can love yourself, you can definitely love someone else. So step out of the background. Step out of the background. Come to the forefront. Step on the stage. When the curtains open, just make sure you're ready to perform. Maybe a job that you're in and you want to work for yourself. But how are you going to work for yourself when your mind is working for someone else? You have to find you. And when you find you, all things are possible. There's no stopping you. So this little attitude you may be feeling from someone who may be showing you an attitude, it means nothing. It means nothing when you think about all the wasted time you have wasted trying to please someone else, this time could have been served in a way where that you could be happy. I'm not saying that you're not happy now. I'm just saying that pull these weeds out and realize that there's more to you than just what you wake up to and look in the mirror at. Because one day this life is over. And you may be lying on your deathbed and be wondering to yourself, what did I do? What have I accomplished? What did I leave my children? Did I give them enough love? Did I tell the people who I really love that I do love them? Maybe the weeds that lie within you doesn't allow you to feel this. You must remove the weeds. Cultivate your life. Get to the point where that you can live for you. And I don't want to be selfish, but I must say, I love to put a smile on your face, but it hurts me when I put a smile on your face and a frown on mine. It needs to work across the board. So move on, take time, take a look at things, be careful, but for the most, remove the weeds out of your life. Thank you very much. This has been Ryal Thomas. See you next week.